Good afternoon. Hello, hello. I'm back after a week away. Um, I think it's recording live, so let me know if you are here. I missed doing this last week, but I was having such a good time visiting with family. Now it says live. I don't know. I guess there's a delay here again. Um, and things weren't meshing with what I was saying. So, anyway, I'll start again. Welcome. Thanks for joining in. Let me know if you're here. This is Pat Mayer at patstamper.com, and there's my blog, patstamper.typepad.com, and I need to update that. I didn't post anything while I was out of town. So, hey Nancy, how are you doing? I didn't get a chance to call you yesterday. So, I will get started here shortly. So, hi Gloria. So we get going, and I'm just excited to be here. I posted something just a couple minutes ago. I guess my brain was an hour off. I don't know. It's not that I'm still on Central Time, but I've been back for a week almost. Anyway, I've got something I think kind of special to show today, and it's peach season here in Ohio, and I think all around the area. And the peach truck comes to visit in Akron. So I'm going to use the, Sweet as a Peach stamp set and designer paper today. And that brings me to, thanks Nancy, it's good to be back. That brings me to a designer series paper sale that will start this Thursday. Can you believe that Thursday is July and we have the holiday weekend coming up? Hey Fran, this is a 15% off sale. We have most of them, with the exception of one, are $9.78 instead of $11.50. There's one that's called In Good Taste that has 24 sheets instead of 12, so it's more. It's it's usually $21. It's $17.85. But You're a Peach is one of the 9 that are available or will be available. We've got Tidings of Christmas, Sweet Symmetry, In the Wild, Pansy Petals, Hand Penned, Bloom Where You're Planted, and Beauty of the Earth. And hopefully at the end of today, if you don't already have a whole stash of designer paper, you're going to need more when I show you what I'm going to do. So anyway, I've used a lot of the You're a Peach already. Let's see, let's move that out of the way there. And turn that off so we've got more room. So let me show you what I have left. And the colors of it are great. I've come up with a new paper or color combo that I just have fallen in love with. But we've got Balmy Blue. I'm going to use that today. Bumblebee, Calypso Coral, I'll be using. Early Espresso, Mango Melody, Pale Papaya, that's a new in color. I'll be using that. Pear Pizzazz, that one. Petal Pink and Basic White. They're just so refreshing. So I've usually gotten the peaches in the past, but I think a friend of mine said, would you like to share? So I think I will take her up on that offer and not have 40 pounds of peaches that I don't always get to use. So what am I going to do that is different today before I get to the designer paper? A long time ago, we used to use masking tape to create a background. And where's the card that I'm going to do today? Here we go. This is the card that I'm going to do. And I couldn't find any masking tape that would give me a background that I was looking for. And then we had some stamps that also gave that same kind of mottled background look. So one of my friends, Cindy, came up with the idea to emboss the paper. So I'm using frog tape. If you've never heard of frog tape, I think it comes in different colors. And this is, let's see, low adhesion, so it's not going to tear the paper. And it is for, I can't read the language here, but anyway, it's for delicate surfaces. And we think paper is pretty delicate. Yeah, there it says delicate surface. So what I've done is to take the bark embossing folder. It's a 3D. It's one of the new ones. And I've run strips of the frog tape through the embossing folder to give me a texture on the background. And it's long enough that it covers the entire width of the embossing folder. So it's about 6 inches. And I just tore it apart there. So now what I'm going to do is grab my piece of cardstock that I'm going to stamp on, and it happens to be 4.5 by 3.25. Yeah, 4.5 by 3.25. I'm going to use Pale Papaya, Calypso Coral, and Balmy Blue. But I'm going to go the lengthwise. I want the longest end, I guess what you would call the landscape of our ink pads. So I'm going to use our Take a Pick tool to lift this off, and you can see there is a texture to that, and that's what I want. So I took one off, and you can use this more than once. So let's see, I want to start with the Pale Papaya at the top. And you want it longer than your ink pad so your fingers don't get in it. You want enough to hold on to. So I'm going to put that there and just rub your finger over it to tap it down. And I might want a little bit more. I think that's wide enough for the size paper that I'm using. And make my paper straight and just put that down. So I've created a little ink pad. Rub that on there. Oops, it needs a little bit more. Press it harder. There we go. Oh wow, that's pretty cool. So there's that one. And I'm just going to tape that to the side of my table because you could use it again. Okay, this one's coming off a little bit better because it was hanging over the edge. And this is Calypso Coral. And I see I'm getting some ink on my cardstock, so I'll have to fix that in a minute. And just leave some space between. And put that one down. Ooh, I like that too. And I think my next one will cover over where I got a little ink spot on there. So my next one is Balmy Blue. So I understand, well, I did look at my temperature, that it's really hot outside. It said it was feeling like 98. And I saw a Facebook post from one of my demonstrators in my group who lives in Independence, which is about 30 minutes away up north towards Cleveland. and they were having a brownout up there. And her air conditioning was off, and fans, and I think she even said the TV. So fortunately that hasn't made its way down to Akron yet. So my air is still on. Besides, if I'm in my basement crafting, it's pretty cool down here anyway. So there is my background for my card base. What do you think? So I don't need those colors anymore. So let's cover those up or close those up. I do know that it's pretty humid out there. I don't think we're supposed to get any rain though. Okay, I want the pale papaya to be at the top. So now let's grab a piece of cardstock to stamp on. And I've got the basic white, and I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz, and I'm going to go back to the pale papaya again. So do you have plans made for the 4th of July? Let's see, the 4th is Sunday, I think. Is that right? And then the actual official holiday with no mail and no bank and stuff is Monday, I think. So we've got this piece, and then here are 3 little peaches. And I've seen these little peaches done as, or this little design. Oh, I did that in green. Oh my goodness. Where's my chamois? I was thinking about the weather. So let's get this ink pad open again. Okay, so there's the pale papaya. And I want these to look a little bit more like a peach. Okay, and if I don't close these ink pads as I use them, you know what's going to happen. Thanks, Nancy. I like it. I was really happy with the way it turned out. So now I'm going to take Calypso Coral and just sponge dauber around, a little bit around the tips. You know how a peach will look like it's ripening and getting the darker pink peach, whatever you want to call it. And put that around the edge. Okay, the blending brushes are too big to use with that little technique, so we still need some other method to add color to the stamps, and that's why it's good to keep your sponge daubers handy. So that's what that looks like. So I probably should have gone along the edge more than on the top of that one, but that's okay because I already have some cut out. I also had another one of these cut out too, just in case we had a little disaster. So let's go here. So I already cut these out ahead of time. Now we need some designer paper to go in the back of this. So let's get ready for that. And I don't know, I think I posted it too late. If you did see my quickie post about joining me at 3:30, and for some reason I thought it was 2:30 in my brain. So I did it too late. So I'm going to use this designer paper, this piece that's got the Calypso Coral, a little bit of the pale papaya there, and on the other side, these beautiful, yummy looking peaches. Don't they look juicy? I cannot wait to get some of those. Okay, so I'm going to cut this. Let's see, I guess it really doesn't make any difference if there's a design. I'm going to cut this to 6 by 12. And if if you stick around, I'm going to make something with this. And then make this 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so this will become the card base. And when I'm done, this is all that's going to be left of a 12 by 12 piece when you see what I'm going to do after this. Okay, here's our card base. And just want to know, do you prefer a card base that is 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2 for a top fold, or do you like the kind that looks like what we call hot dog kind, where it is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4? They're exactly the same, just a different way of opening. I really like this top fold, and I think it's because when somebody gets a card, they can stand it up and display it. So that's just my personal opinion. I don't know, but I like to have the top fold cards. So that's what I'm going to use today, and add this. Now I've got another tip to show you that I don't believe I've shown. I saw this on a late night video one night. And if you use tear and tape a lot, for whether it is for a project that is like a 3D where you really want it to stay together and not come undone, because we know that tear and tape is very unforgiving. So this is the trick that I learned. So I'm going to add my tear and tape all the way around. And this is so clever. I don't think, hi Sue, welcome. I don't think I showed this before. Okay, so we're gonna go all the way around. And one more. Okay, now here's the part. Instead of tearing all of this off, peel off just enough to pull it down and add a little tag. Let me put this up here. Add a little tag out to the side on all, whoops, didn't mean to throw that down again. A little tag out to the side. I'm going to do that on all 4 sides, and you should probably get an idea of what I'm going to be doing then. I'm only releasing back maybe an inch, if that. You don't need very much, just enough to pull this little tab out to the side. So let me do the other 2 sides. Hi Linda, welcome. Okay, so there's side number 3, and here's side number 4. I don't need any adhesive in the middle. This little take a pick tool, I couldn't live without. It's so handy. All right, so now I have my designer paper, or anything that you're putting down that you want to make sure it's perfectly straight, and have these little tabs pulled out to the side. So now I'm going to adhere that to my card base, keeping those tabs out to the side, and getting it as straight as I can. So now I'm only going to adhere, because you know with any strong adhesive, especially the tear and tape, with any strong adhesive, once it's there, it's there. Okay, so I'm going to press down the part that I did release. but there's still enough give there. If I need to pull that up, I can, but once it's all the way down, there's no way it's going to come back up. So now all I need to do is carefully pull those tabs off to the side, and now I've got my adhesive here, 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 and here. And if you go slow and kind of pull it off to the side, you've got a perfectly adhered card base with a very strong adhesive. So when I saw that, I thought, oh my gosh, how many pieces of cardstock have I wasted because I didn't get my adhesive just didn't go exactly where I wanted it to go. Or it did go where it wanted to go. Okay, so that's that. Ready to put the card together now. And here is, I think this is the piece that I did today. So I want my pale papaya to be at the top, and I'm going to just use regular seal, Stampin' Seal with this. And it's also very strong, but you couldn't obviously do this same technique with this. So there we go with that. Sometimes it doesn't want to stick. Put some in the middle. And put that down here. And now ready for my other little pieces here. So let's grab some dimensionals. I've got mini dimensionals and regular size. So let's use the mini for the back of the stem part. And again, using my little pick tool. So I just want you to know I had a wonderful time in Texas. When I left here, it was cool. So when I got there, it was very, very hot. But we certainly had a great time. The baby shower was amazing. And we had wonderful food. My daughter and I even said, what happened to the baby showers of old that are just, remember when we did punch and nuts and little colored mints and maybe little tea sandwiches? Well, no more. Thanks, Nancy. You'll remember that. You'll remember it. We had quite the baby shower hosted by one of my daughter's good friends that they travel with a lot. So I got a little bit of ink up here at the top, so I'm going to cover that up with part of this stem. But anyway, it was wonderful, and it was so good to see my grandson, and they're so excited for the new baby to arrive in September. I can't wait. Okay, so I'm using regular dimensionals on the peaches. Let's pull that up over the leaf a little bit. But we had a good time. It went fast. It was like a whirlwind trip. Can't believe it was just last week I was there. We did get to go to Magnolia, go down to Waco and went to Magnolia, and that has changed a lot. It's always fun to visit down there. All right, so there we go with that, and card's almost done. The best part is yet to come, and I'm going to use Thanks So Much from this set. It does have Have a peachy day. Sweet as a peach. There's happy birthday. I'm going to use the thanks so much. And then in some smaller fonts, thanks for being as sweet as a peach, I guess. Hope your day is as sweet as a peach. To a sweet friend, let's celebrate you. It's your day and you're as sweet as a peach. So it's got some great sentiments here. Thanks, Linda. Yes, it was fun, and plans are to go back in October, but I don't know exactly when my granddaughter will be home on leave from the Marines. So for this, I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz. And this is what I use with all these little strips when I cut my paper down. I save these little strips. They can be used for sentiments and just some of them go into one of our punches. I think I'm going to leave this one pretty much the way it is. So there we've got thanks so much. I think that's kind of straight. Grab my paper snips here, get rid of the ink. Finished with the ink. And snip that off. Snip in from the center about quarter of an inch or so, and then go up from the corners to create a flag, and that is so crooked, so I don't like it. Don't like it at all. I should probably use a punch to make that happen. Okay, real quick, try again. Yes, when I go back excuse me, in October, I will get to see the baby and Grace. So let's see if I can do this again a little bit better. Okay, make a little flag. This should be better. I had the angle wrong on that other one. Okay, there we go. So now we've got thanks so much. Couple dimensionals for that. And the card is almost done. And let's see, we've got one more left on here. And there we go. There's the card. And I like to use Wink of Stella to add some shimmer to my cards, especially the peach, because we know they're going to be shimmery. And then you can tap on your Wink of Stella with a bone folder just to get some little wisps of color there, because we don't have the shimmer paint anymore. There, that's a little bit, maybe got too much there. I just like shimmer. So that's that. And now clear my table and get ready for the next part. This is going to go fast. This is what I said. If you've got a piece of designer paper, I'm going to teach you how to make an envelope. Okay, get the ink pads out of the way, get all this other stuff out of the way. All right. Okay, so there's the final. All right, our CEO, Sarah Douglas, does Facebook Lives every once in a while. I don't know if she does them weekly or what, but I will tell you, she always comes up with some cool ideas. And I happened to catch one last week to make envelopes out of a 6x12 piece of designer paper. Let me tell you, I made so many envelopes last week. Every card I made an coordinating envelope to go with it with the stamp set that I was using. And of course I was using all kinds of different paper. Not all of them had a stamp set to go with it, so don't think that. But anyway, we need a paper trimmer. This goes so fast and so easy. So if you don't have paper, write down what I'm going to tell you to do, and then try to make one and see what you think. So I'm going to take my piece of paper that is 6 by 12 and score it on both sides at 3/4 of an inch. Now on our paper trimmer, let me pull this up here so you can see it because there's a glare. You can see over here to the side where it goes over like 1.5 inches. So you can cut over here to the side as well. So I'm going to score at 3/4. Make sure that you're scoring, not cutting. And that's the light gray one. Okay, so I've got a score there. I'm going to flip it over and do a score on this side. Again, we're scoring, not cutting. Now go the 12-inch side and score at 4 1/4. And flip it and score at 2. All right, so I've got 2 scores at 3/4 of an inch on either side, one at 2 and one at 4 1/4. If there would be a design on your paper, I mean, one side would probably look upside down, the other side will be like this. But here comes the best part. If you have a trimmer that can cut, now I'll be using the cutting blade, there is a little arrow in the center of the cutting blade that will line up with the ruler that is along the side. So that's what I'm going to do. You can also use a pair of paper snips or some long blade scissors work really well. So let's see, I've got the 2-inch one up here. Before I do that though, I want to cut in on the score line at 2 inches to the 3/4 inch. And do the same thing down here at the bottom where the 4-inch one is. And do that on both sides. And I found that from watching her directions that doing this little cut first made it easier for me. Then I do the cutting down and get these 4 tabs out. So I'm going to be cutting out a tab here that goes down to the 2 inches and cutting here a tab that goes up to the 4 inches. So basically I'm going to line it back up with that 3/4 line again. Now I want to move that scoring blade out of the way and cut. And I like to pull down. So I'm going to pull down to 2 inches, and by cutting in first, I kind of feel where that little trough is and the little ditch, and now that piece should come right out. Okay, got it? Now, that's still there. Let's come down to the bottom. And again, I like to pull up or push up or pull down. I'm going to go from the bottom up 4 1/4 inches. And you can see where that score is here. And I know there's a glare even on my side too with my overhead light. Okay, lift that up, pull that out. So now I've got those 2 tabs. Flip it over and do the other side. So now I've got the 4-inch at the top. And again, line it up with that 3/4 where you started. My 2 inches is now down to the bottom. Pull that out. And the 4 1/4 is up at the top. Okay, and if your lighting is good, you'll see exactly where you need to stop. So this is what I have left. Okay, so 3/4 of an inch on both sides, 2 inches, and 4 1/4. So I'm going to take my bone folder and burnish those scores. And there we go. Now this part is optional, and it just adds a little bit of, makes it looks a little bit nicer to have a rounded corner on your edges. And this happens to be our I actually forget the exact name of it, 3 punch. Okay, I'm going to look it up and see exactly what it is. Okay, 3 detailed trio. How about that? Detailed trio gives you a corner rounder, this little flower, and then this little hole for probably to put a nice a ribbon through. So I think the corner rounding helps. You just want to make sure as you put that in there for the corner rounder that you've got your paper up against the 2 little blocks that make the rounded corner, and you get a really nice rounded edge. Do that here, and the other end too. Probably don't need to do both, but I think it makes it look nicer. And yeah, that one's good. They're all good. So now all we need to do is fold this bottom part, the long end up, add adhesive. Where did my adhesive go? Right there. Add adhesive to the 2 tabs right there. Fold that up. Oh, I know what I forgot. Duh, don't do that. That's why it wasn't folding. Okay, this should have been the step after I cut those out. Okay. Take a little chunk, like little triangle, out of each of these sides, and it will fold right. Okay, and on this side too. I wondered why it wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. So now we've got those little, it gives you a better fold so that the paper doesn't buckle down here at the end, and that's what was happening. So that was my little tip that I forgot. Now it will fold up perfectly. And of course, no adhesive up here until you're ready to send the card in the mail. And here we go. This is today's card and envelope, all ready to go in the mail. And just get some, I think probably better to have a little label on the outside. Post office might appreciate that a little bit more. But here are some other cards. This is what my original one went in, with this designer paper, all from the peach paper. And these were some other peach cards that I made last week. This is the same paper that I used today, but I've got the peach as the outside and these polka dot on the inside. And here's a peach card. Happy birthday. And for this one I used our new basic borders. Same little, just a very simple card, simple birthday. Here's another one, same designer paper, but this one is a little bit different. I added the border out here, put my designer paper on the inside so you can see both sides of it. You're awesome. And then this one is Sweet as a Peach. Again, the same design as before, a little bit different with the peaches here, Sweet as a Peach, so that you get to see the inside designer paper there. Thank you, Sue. Thanks, Nancy. Thanks for all the great comments. I just got so energized making all of these envelopes, and if you could see the stack of designer paper I have, I've just gone wild. I will no longer be cutting my designer paper into 6x6. I would cut it, if you have a lot left over, cut it at 12x6. Use that one side for creating cards, and then use the other side, the 12x6, for creating beautiful envelopes, just like this. So you'll be probably seeing lots more of these. Thanks, Nancy. I'm full of clever ideas again, although after I came back from Texas and went off to do some crafting, I did not get much sleep, but it was a good vacation. Had a great time. Ate too much, so now it's back to reality and trying to be good. So if I craft instead of eat, I'll be good to go. So I'll see what kind of clever ideas I can come up with for next Monday, when it will be the 4th of July. So join me then. I believe the date is July 5th. And I will see you then. Have a great rest of the day and stay cool. Bye-bye.